Incorrect. Absolutely not. What a load of rubbish. What a load of rubbish. What a load of rubbish. I spent 5 years at university to become a vet, and I've been practicing for 15 years. Today I'm going to be taking some internet pet health quizzes. If I don't get 100% in them all, it's going to be pretty embarrassing. Okay, let's start off with this one from fourpaws.com. How much do you really know about pet health? A bright smile is a healthy smile. How often should you brush your pet's teeth? Well, ideally we should be brushing our pet's teeth every day. It's often not practical, or we struggle to get that in. We really need to be brushing at a minimum of 3 times a week if brushing is going to be effective. So every day. Oh, I thought it wasn't going to tell me whether I got it right or not. So 48% of people who took this quiz got it right. True or false? You should trim your pet's nails as short as possible. False. I think there's no medical benefit for them to being really short. If you've got a cat that goes outdoors, for example, it's important that they do actually have some nails so they can climb and get away from a dog, for example. And being a normal length isn't necessarily as short as normal. Okay, correct. Clipping too close to the pink line in the nail can cause pain and bleeding. That's absolutely true. If you're trying to get them cut really short, it's really sore, bleeds a lot. Your dog is going to hate having their feet trimmed, their feet touched, and your cat is really going to go bananas if you get those clippers out. If you are trimming your dog or your cat's claws, you can get these grinders, which makes getting their quicks a lot less likely. But yeah, we don't need to worry about it if they're not over long. The proper way to clean your fur friend's ears is to use nothing. Pets' ears clean themselves. Your finger, cotton balls with ear cleaner, cotton swabs with ear cleaner. Well, if your pet doesn't have an underlying ear problem, they haven't had recurrent ear infections, there's no real need to clean their ears as a matter of routine. So nothing, your pet's ears clean themselves. That's absolutely true, unless they've got an underlying problem like allergies, for example. Ear mites would be another one where it's really beneficial to clean their ears. If you're noticing loads of wax, if you're doing that, you want to be using a specific ear cleaner. They have antibacterial properties. They help break down all that wax and muck within the ear. You absolutely never want to be sticking anything into that ear canal, down that ear canal, because that can just compact all of the rubbish down in the depths, and it may cause problems with making the infection worse or even damaging that eardrum. So nothing, your pet's ears clean themselves. Incorrect. About once a week with cotton balls and liquid ear cleaner. Absolutely not. What a load of rubbish. What a load of rubbish. Vet visit time. If your pet is 1 year old or older, how often should you take them for a checkup? If they're 1 year old or older, I would suggest once a year. If they're a healthy adult dog, then 1 year is normally plenty if you've got no particular health concerns. As they get older and become a senior animal, if your dog is over maybe about 8 or 9 years of age, if your cat is 9, 10, 11, then actually getting them checked out every 6 months or even more frequently can be really important and beneficial with catching any of these elderly diseases as early as possible. So once a year. Correct. Phew. Which grooming tool is ideal for removing your pet's loose hair? Comb, bristle brush, the same hairbrush you use, slicker brush. I'm not sure this is really a pet health question. It's really what your pet's used to. I think if they're used to any particular brush that's specifically designed for grooming their fur type, because that's going to be important. If you've got a really silky, dense coat on your pet, then they're not going to have the same brush, or they're not going to like the same brush probably as a thinner wire haired coat, for example. So slicker brush is pretty good at removing pets' loose hair. Well, there we go. But a bristle brush, which 51% of people said, is not wrong either. What's the most common dental problems in dogs and cats? Fractured teeth, periodontal disease, stomatitis, salivary cysts. Periodontal disease, no question about it. Something that 80% of dogs and cats have signs of dental disease by the time they get to 3 years of age. It's really, really super common. Well, I'm a pet health pro. I only got 5 out of 6 right though. Completely disagree with that ear cleaning question. You know, it's really important that we don't rely on the internet as our sole means of getting information about our pet's health. Okay, so let's jump into another quiz. This one is from Petful. It's got vet approved content. Let's see if it's this vet approved. True or false, rabies is a preventable disease? Absolutely true. Vaccines are incredibly effective, and if rabies is in your area, absolutely get your dog vaccinated. In certain states, in most of the US, I believe, in other countries, rabies vaccination is mandated by law. It's a hugely serious disease and a massive human health risk too. But thankfully, it is a preventable disease. Which of these is not toxic to dogs or cats? Grapes or raisins? They are definitely toxic, cause kidney failure. Avocados, yes. Macadamia nuts, they will cause certain neurological signs, but they're actually generally not fatal, but they're still toxic. Chocolate, absolutely. The darker the chocolate, the more painful. Potatoes are not poisonous. They're going to give your dog a tummy upset, especially if they're eating raw, kind of immature potatoes, but they're not toxic. Onions, yes, cause red blood cell destruction, cause anemia, and garlic, which is the same family as onions, causes the same problem. So potatoes, perfect. Note that you should not feed your pet raw potatoes. Absolutely. They're going to cause a bit of tummy upset.
Okay guys, something didn't quite sit right with me as I was just editing this video. There was something in my mind about green potatoes being actually a bit worse than just causing a bit of tummy upset. So yeah, could have jumped into a bit of research, and green potatoes actually do contain a poison, a toxin. It's called solanum. It's an alkaloid, and that does cause a tummy upset, so diarrhea, vomiting, but in some severe cases, when enough has been eaten, it can actually cause coma and death. Now, it's difficult to find what that toxic dose is, kind of how much green potato or potato sprouts your dog would have to eat to cause these really serious and potentially deadly problems. But it's really rare anyway. Like, case reports of green potato poisoning are very, very rare. So I think that's pretty unlikely, but absolutely green potatoes can actually be toxic, poisonous, and deadly. Cooked potatoes, of course, are absolutely fine. And now let's just jump back into the quiz.
True or false, if my pet swallows a poisonous food, I should induce vomiting as soon as possible and then call the veterinarian. Now, you might think that this is true. It's not. Depending on what's been eaten depends on whether vomiting is a good idea, and also depending on whether your pet is showing any signs of poisoning. So if your dog or cat has eaten a caustic substance, so that'd be something like bleach, for example, batteries, then actually that can cause more harm than good if they're bringing that up. Similarly, if it's a really sharp object. Also, if they're showing signs of nervous problems, so if they're dull and depressed and they're not mentally aware, if they're tremoring, if they're having seizures, then we don't want to be inducing vomiting. The reason for this is that they can inhale their vomit. It causes what we call aspiration pneumonia, which is a horrendous and frequently fatal condition. So false, always call your vet first. It may be that they tell you to induce vomiting, but don't do it without instruction. How many cats aged 3 or older have periodontal disease? About 80%. We'll go for 70. Yeah, we already covered that. Hugely common, and that's where toothbrushing is really important. There are dental specific diets that are better for the teeth. There are chews that can help. There are things that you can add to their water or gels that you can just pop on their teeth. So there's a whole number of different ways that we can keep our dog and cat's teeth clean, and that's something that absolutely we should be doing because it has a huge impact on health. Maintaining which of the following can help your dog or cat live a significantly longer life? Skin, healthy weight, nails, bedding. If you've been on this channel any length of time, you know I bang this drum all the time. A healthy weight, no question. Yeah, one study published in 2018 showed that being overweight can shorten a Labrador Retriever's lifespan by 2 to 3 years. Absolutely. It shortens their life. It causes all kinds of problems. It causes, arthritis, diabetes, poor skin, chronic lameness, kidney problems, heart disease, breathing issues. Like, being overweight pretty much affects every single aspect of the body. So if we can keep your pet to a healthy weight, if you can make sure that they are a nice and healthy weight, not carrying too many pounds, then actually that's probably the biggest single thing that you can do to make sure that they stay healthy, or as healthy as possible, throughout their whole life. Okay, what's next? Okay, we probably just covered this. Obesity puts pets at a higher risk of everything is the answer, really. High blood pressure, skin disease, heart disease, liver disease, urinary tract disease, diabetes, joint and disc problems, that's in the back, early death, all of the above, no doubt. True or false? If your pet has fleas, you would know because you definitely see them on your pet or in your house. False. So fleas, they will jump onto your pet to feed. They'll often then jump off. They'll live in the carpet, in the bedding, out in the garden. You're not always going to see signs of a problem. If your pet is itching and they've not had a recent flea product, then it's never a bad idea to give them an appropriate flea product, just to rule that out as a cause. It's something that your vet's probably going to do anyway if you take your pet to see your vet. But what you'll often see is not the adult fleas themselves, but flea dirt. Now this just looks like little black specks on their coat. If you get a fine brush, you can often brush that out. If you pop that on a wet piece of tissue paper, cotton wool, and you rub it, it goes a rusty red colour. If it's just normal dirt because your dog or your cat has been exploring the undergrowth, rolling in the soil, then it's just going to stay a brown. But if it goes a rusty red, you know that there are fleas present and they need treating. So, false. False. Okay. Last question, true or false? Flea collars are never a good way to control fleas on your dog or cat. So up until 5-10 years ago, I'd have said this is true, because flea collars are older style flea collars, basically contain organophosphates, which are really old chemicals, anti-parasite, anti-insect chemicals that can be very dangerous to our pets. They're also incredibly ineffective. They would stop fleas from going kind of around that neck area, but they wouldn't stop them in the rest of the body. There is a really good flea collar now, something called a Seresto collar. It works for about 8 months to kill and to prevent fleas. So they are a good idea if you use the right collar. Perfect. So show me my score. I think I got them all right. Where does it tell me? Here's your score. You passed. You know a lot about pet health. What a relief, especially after the last one. Did you play along? How did you do in all these quizzes? Let me know down below. I put together this playlist for you on screen now about reacting to veterinarians of Reddit threads. Check it out. I'll see you in the next video. And until then, I'm Dr. Alex. This is Our Pet's Health, because they're family.